Back during the height of the pandemic, I created some videos. I tied some flies for folks. Yeah, that was mostly a way to pass the time while I was secreted in my basement, hiding out from the pandemic. But it was also well, a way to stay in touch with the wider world. Much to my surprise, there were those people who actually liked them and urged me to do more. Uh, it's been a long while, but after an unconscionable delay, here I am again. If this proves to be an utter waste of your time, which is a distinct possibility, you can blame particularly a couple of my friends. I'm not going to name names, but one goes by the nickname Missy, and the other has initials LDH. And you'll find those initials on some of the finest wood frame landing nets ever made. Uh, Talk to those folks if this proves to be something you would rather have not witnessed. The fly I'm going to tie is called it's a version of the Chubby Chernobyl, a very popular fly. This one's meant to suggest the appearance of a golden stonefly, a natural insect that is found in the Rocky Mountains, where I hope to be this July, and I hope to interact with some trout trying to eat the natural insects. Uh, I call this one the W golden stone. W in this case stands for utterly unoriginal, and I'll explain that further as I get into tying it. But it's basically a reaction, my reaction to the troubling industry or hobby practice of making some kind of a minor alteration to a fly and claiming it as an original of your own. Uh, Me, I agree with the preacher in the book of Ecclesiastes, who said in uh, chapter 10, verse 10, chapter 1, verse 10, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. So with that, I'm going to pause this video, and we're going to reset the camera for focus and so on, and we'll try to put this fly together, and I'll offer some comment while I do it, all right? So there it is, the W Golden Stone Chubby in all its glory. We'll get a fresh hook in the vise, and we'll try to tie one of these things. Along the way, we'll talk a little bit about the materials involved, the construction, and all the ways in which this fly is so utterly unoriginal. Our hook is a size 8 Daiichi 1260, a curved nip hook. The tailing material is this hot orange crystal flash. The underbody, the most underbody material, is a piece of scrap foam, and I'll explain that as we go. The first body material after that is ice dub in golden brown. The body material above that is going to be 2mm thin fly foam in gold. That'll be topped by the same material in tan. Our winging material is is some highly modified polypropylene macrame yarn from Charlie's Fly Box. And the legging material is grizzly barred rubber legs from Hairline in medium and fluorescent yellow chartreuse. The thread is uni in 6/0. We'll start our thread near the hook eye, leaving just a little bit of space to remind us not to crowd the eye as we create the fly. We'll get to the back of the hook, back to the front, snip that off. And we'll start our tailing materials. There are about anywhere from, I suppose, 12 to 16 strands involved in this tail. Starting it up here for a couple of reasons. First of all, it might be a little sturdier. It adds immediate bulk to the body, which is something you're actually going to need, and it might make it a little bit more secure. This is about probably 1/3 to 1/4 shank length for the tail, and then we'll bind that in tightly. Get back up to the front one more time. We'll put a little bit of JB Super Weld, some low viscosity cyanoacrylate along the top here to help bind our scrap foam in. The foam also is a material that just, well, it adds bulk, but more importantly, I think it ensures that the dubbing will stay put and not want to continue to rotate around the hook. It'll keep the it'll make a sturdier fly is the short way of putting it. We'll start back here. We'll trim that off. The color of this material is really immaterial because it'll get covered up as with other materials as we go along. So with that, we're ready to start our body material. What we'll do here is this synthetic, I suppose it's a mylar of some sort, chopped very, very fine. It's kind of an unruly material, so it's best to kind of try to limit the amount that you're putting on at one time. You'll end up with a sturdier body that'll behave a little bit better for you. This is well. Here's another point of unoriginality. I learned from a Kelly Gallup video that it's impolite to lick one's fingers on camera, so I have a sponge over here. I'll try to remember to use that. The underbody, this is another unoriginal element. The underbody is something that I learned to do by watching Tim Flagler at Tight Lines videos tie his flies. And actually, the fly itself, the thought of trying to create this came to me after seeing a video from river keeper flies, where they were actually tying a purple chubby, a pretty common thing, but they flashed this thing, or once vaguely similar to this, across the screen at a time. We're using our rotary feature here to speed things up a little bit. Now we're ready for our first body material. And this is yet another thing that is utterly unoriginal. This comes from Cheech at Fly Fish Food. I watched him tie a stonefly pattern for the salmon fly hatch, and he shaped his underbody like this, and we'll show you how that fits. It just makes kind of a well, he says it's because he's being fancy at the time, but it's I think it adds, if this fly got accused of trying to be realistic, this is probably where that enters in. Then we'll tie a second body material over the top of that, and this is another Cheech innovation. He says that if you put a little dot of cyanoacrylate there, that you can bind the two, you can weld these two together and set them up at kind of a jaunty angle by allowing the glue to set in this position. So we'll see. There we are. So we've got this sort of, it might look like the rear wing split in a, stoneflies carry their at rest carry their wings flat over the top of their body. So it might look like the split in the pair of wings. Our next material is that polypropylene macrame yarn from Charlie's Fly Box. I've separated this down. It's a 6-strand material. 2 strands will form something like this once it's brushed out. So, well, this is grossly over length, but for the sake of demonstration, it's just easier to do. Now, another unoriginal technique here. If you try to tie this second wing in just by going around like that, it's going to continue to do that. So the fellows at Blue Line Fly Co. suggest putting a bodkin in here and looping the upper material over that, allowing a little bit of space, and then binding that down, tying that in, and now this whole wing will lay back. This is going to get trimmed and neatened out, tidied up as we go along too. Then our legging material, and we'll just sort of establish an arbitrary random length there, and we'll tie that in. We'll make sure that we seat that between the 2 layers of body. That will help splay it out. You will get you get better leg action that way. That they as we tighten this, you'll see that poke out better like that. There are a couple of wraps there, and then we're back to adding just a little dab of our dubbing to cover up the wraps that we've made thus far. Let's try to tighten that up a little bit. Then it's just a matter of coming forward from there with a little more dubbing to the second tie-in point. Yet. And again, a little drop of glue to help position this stuff, keep it in place permanently. This is essentially a duplication of the rear setup. And our other wing. Gotta gather this together, lay it in there, get a wrap or two over it. Back to the bodkin trick. Pinch this a little bit. There we go. Then with that, it's leg time again. Again, make sure that you make every effort to get your leg material between the two layers of foam. We get that done. All right, position that there, pull tight, kick them out a little ways. Unholy mess here, isn't it? We'll tidy that up as we go along. Again, back to our dubbing. Okay, and then we'll add a little dubbing to finish off the head of the fly. I keep using the phrase tidy because we're going to have to do some considerable effort to put forth some effort to get this thing tidied up, but it'll work out, I promise. And a whip finish up here. I normally tie under magnification, but it just looks too ridiculous on screen. So, I'm subject to vanity like any normal person. So, I eschewed that, and that might be partially responsible for the somewhat raggy appearance of this thing too. So we've got excess body material here. One of the first things that we'll do is we'll trim that just beyond the eye of the hook. And then we can ease the corners here a little bit to make it look like a little bit more like a natural insect head. Well, this is probably not at all necessary either. I think next that we're going to have at this this mess. And what we want here is we'll gather all that up, pull it all back. Uh, it'll be just longer than the body, and we'll get our scissors in here at a little bit of an arc. And much better already, huh? And then from that point, we can take a little comb and get a brush through there. Charlie Craven at Charlie's Fly Box says this is the floatiest material that you can put on a fly. And part of the charm of that for a fly like this is that they're often used in the famous hopper dropper setup, where you'll, off a length of tippet, you'll run a smaller nymph fly underwater from there, and this will serve as a strike indicator, if nothing else. Although we're also hoping that some fish might be interested in them too. The last thing that we need to do here is trim our legs. That's completely arbitrary measurement too. It's whatever you like. I like to leave them what I think is a little long, because I think there's just something about that action on the water that makes this fly attractive as well. But there you have it, the W Golden Stone. Now, again, I have here in my vise a fly that I never saw anywhere before, but it's certainly not my fly. It's the fly of all these people who helped me learn how to do these things, and that's my minor protest against folks laying claim for other people's work. I hope you're having a good day. I hope this video is at least a little bit helpful to you. If not, let me know that. I'd like to hear from you. Take care.